When most people think of Venice, the first thoughts that come to mind are the famous canals that traverse the whole city. Many folks are vaguely aware of Venice's influence on the Italian peninsula during the Renaissance period as one of the competing influences in northern Italy and in the Adriatic Sea as a whole. But before we move on any further with that, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Aaron, and this is Historical Humans. For our English-speaking audience, we know the city as Venice, but its actual name is Venetia. Calling it Venice is practically cardinal sin to some folks. The city is located on the northeastern side of Italy, and while it's known as a city on the sea, Venetia actually includes the lagoon around which the little archipelago it inhabits, as well as the surrounding marshlands. Even in the earliest days of the city's history, people were drawn to the area by its access of fish for food and its defensibility. After a brief excursion with the Franks in the 9th century, Venetia started to focus more on trade and its ports. So, throughout the medieval period, the Venetian Republic became well known for its riches, maritime naval skills, trade, and their patron saint, Saint Mark. Funny story about that. Venetians actually stole St. Mark's remains from the Egyptians. This won't be the last time they do this, when they decided to take away iconic symbols from the Byzantines during the Fourth Crusade. After some shenanigans with pretenders to the Byzantine throne, they took a lot of stuff, including the portrait of the four tetrarchs from late antiquity. By the end of the Renaissance period, Venetian influence spread across to the islands in Greece and to Cyprus as well. Plague ravaged them throughout the 14th and 15th century. It got to the point where they would have put infected people on specific islands. These were probably the first state-mandated quarantine zones that inspired it to be the standard practice during epidemics and pandemics, actually. As if plague wasn't bad enough for them, the Ottomans started to covet the holdings that they had in Greece and the rest of the Mediterranean, and worked to build their own naval to rival the Venetians. This led to many wars during which the Venetians blew up the Parthenon after bombing Athens and hit a gunpowder depot that the Ottomans placed in it. And no, I'm still not over it. While losing footholds in southern Europe to the Ottomans, a coalition was formed called the League of Cambrai, which included the Habsburgs, France, Aragon, and Pope Julius II's papacy, which is really impressive considering the Habsburgs and France really hated each other. As time goes on, Venetian influence wanes, coming to an end in the early modern era. Trade has become more focused on the Atlantic. They lost their holdings, and plague struck the city again in the 17th century. The Venetian Republic would come to an end when Napoleon defeats them. The Austrians are given control of the city, and then it is incorporated into the Kingdom of Italy in the 1800s. Today, Venice is thought of the city as canals and is a major tourist destination in Italy. Thousands flock to the city every year to see major sites, including the San Marco, which was the administration center for the Republic, and they also come to see an impressive bell tower called the Campanile, which is built next to the pinnacles of St. Mark, the San Marco Basilica, which is a grand display of iconography and power that the Venetian Republic once held. Of course, the Doge Palace, where leaders of the Republic once resided, is also a very popular destination. It is also where different governmental duties were performed. There is so much more to the city, from the historical monuments to churches. The most important part of the city, though, is the people themselves. So brush up on some Italian if you plan to visit this old and beautiful city, and be sure to have some gelato. You won't regret it. Arrivederci.